Um, can you talk a little bit about where things stand in terms of the timing of the completion of the BP settlement and what the state hopes to do with the money and how soon that money will be flowing in?
Sure. So a couple of weeks ago, we announced an agreement in principle with BP and the Department of Justice and all parties that were involved in the BP oil spill. So the next steps in finalizing that agreement is getting a consent decree signed. We anticipate getting that document signed probably somewhere in December to early February timeframe. And once the consent decree is signed, we anticipate dollars beginning to flow at least 90 days afterwards once that document is signed, once a consent decree is signed.
Okay. And the kinds of projects that the state is looking for with that money?
Yeah, so first of all, I think you're going to see the majority of these dollars go to areas that were most impacted by the BP oil spill. You're going to see these dollars go to address a specific injury of the spill. But at the same time, you're also going to see some of these dollars go to projects that are main priorities that further our efforts of an overall coastal restoration program. So projects that are included in the Coastal Master Plan that move the ball down the field in addressing the crisis that we face in coastal Louisiana, such as the HNC lock, such as the Calcasieu Salinity Control Structure. But you also see dollars, as I said earlier, that will go to address this specific injury. Projects that will help the oyster industry, or projects that will marsh creation, things of that nature. We know that there were a great deal of damage was done to our coastal wetlands and our ecosystems, so specific projects that go to address that injury will be a priority for the state moving forward.
So the Calcasieu River and the Houma Navigation Canal projects are both really aimed at reducing saltwater flow and improving the wetlands behind them. Both of those actually help migratory birds, don't they?
Sure.
That might have been affected by the spill.
Sure. I think that there are multiple things that those projects go to address. So as migratory birds, increase habitat, anytime we can decrease saltwater intrusion through the salinity control structure in Calcasieu Parish, that benefits Cameron Parish as well as Calcasieu Parish. It's creating additional habitat to reduce that salinity. Is going to improve habitat, migratory bird populations, which were impacted by the BP oil spill.
And in terms of the dollars that we'll be getting and the timing of them, this is a long-term settlement, right? So it's going to be multiple years.
That's correct.
As the state moves forward, it's still going to need additional funding for restoration projects, right? So what efforts are also underway on behalf of the state to find other sources of money?
So as you mentioned, the BP oil spill is kind of a long-term, it's over a 15-year period. I think those discussions are still ongoing as to when the money is going to come and over what period of time. But you're right, additional funding is needed. The master plan is a $50 billion, 50-year plan. We anticipate in 2017 those GOMESA revenues, which are from offshore oil and gas royalties, will be kicking in as about $140 million per year. But we need to start thinking outside of the box on how we're going to ultimately, once the BP funds are dried up, once GOMESA, we hope GOMESA will also be a long-term funding stream, but we need to begin thinking outside of the box on how we're going to ultimately fully fund the Coastal Master Plan. I will say that the state is we're only capable of doing about $1 billion worth of work right now. So we don't need all of the money right now in the trust fund, but we do need to start thinking outside of the box on how ultimately we're going to fully fund the master plan going forward.